Welcome back to Louis Teaches Piano, and today we are looking at the jazz tune Have You Met Mrs. Jones by Richard Rodgers. If you like this type of content, please let me know by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Let's get into it. If you take a look at the timestamps, there will be 3 sections. Firstly, what I'm calling the beginner section. What we're going to go through nice and slowly is the melody of the A section, the first A section, and the B section. For the sake of time, we'll just stick to those 2. And also some simple inversions of the chords to be played. The opening bar is an F major 7 chord, the piece being in F major. And what does an F major 7 chord look like? Well, it's got F in the root. We know it's major, so it's got a major 3rd. If it was F minor, it would be an A flat. But this is F major, the 5th, and the 3rd on top, being an E natural. If you did F7, it would be like that. But that's F major 7. Moving on, it goes to F sharp diminished. What is a F sharp diminished chord, you might ask? Well, a diminished chord is stacked minor 3rds. And then to G7. So all of these chords are quite close together, these first 3 chords. However, when we put the melody in, it gets in the way. Our left hand gets in the way of the right hand. So what we can do with any chord, but let's take the first chord, F major 7, is we don't have to play those notes in that order. We can actually play what's called an inversion. For example, so to get it out of the way of our right hand and the melody, we need to drop it to the inversion beneath. And an easy way to figure this out is take the top note, which is an E, and add it to the bottom. Now, if we take a look at the melody, the C is also going to get in the way. So I'm going to take that C again and move it to the bottom, like that. So here's the first bar. Can do the same thing for F sharp diminished, and likewise for G7. So what I'm doing is I'm playing the inversion that's closest to where my hand currently is. So if you're on G7, G minor 7, and you want to go to C7, I'm playing this inversion. That's G minor 7, and I'm taking those 2 bottom notes and I'm adding them to the top. It's called second inversion. And then G minor 7 goes to C7. I want to keep my hand in the same place, which means I play just reposition C7. In jazz, we like to do this a lot. It kind of economise our left hand, if you will. Okay, so if I play it through like that, this is what it will sound like. Now you might think that sounds quite good, or you might not like it. It doesn't perhaps work so well on this piano, you could say. But one thing we can do is actually, we, as a solo pianist, is play the root of the chord in before we play the inversion of the chord, which will give it the correct sound that the piece suggests we should use. So, for example, we could do the root of each chord on the 1 beat, and then hold our inversion for 3 beats. In 4/4, that would sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's starting to sound a bit more jazzy, a bit more swing. Once you get to the B section, it's a bit harder because the harmony is more complex. But if you break it down, that actually we've got a string of 2-5-1 progressions, which I've talked about in previous videos. I'll link a video about 2-5-1 specifically up in the corner of this video now. If we take a look at the start of the B section, starting from the second time bar, we've got C minor 7, F7, B flat major 7, and that is a 2-5-1 into B flat major. If you like, I would take these 5 fingers, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the first chord is C, so that's 1, 2. The second chord is F7, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it goes home, so it's the 1 chord. Now, in jazz, the key can change very quickly, so that's exactly what happens. It suddenly goes to G flat major 7 and does a 2-5-1 into it. So G flat 7, D flat 7, and G major 7, and into D major. So E minor 7, A7, and D major 7, etc. Now moving on to the next part of the tutorial. As a solo jazz pianist, we have to perform the whole piece, and this might involve, oftentimes it will involve, a intro. So I'm going to give you an example of an intro that you could use for this piece, or quite a few other jazz standards that I've written out, and so you can follow along above. 2, 3. The third and final thing I want to teach you today is how we might go about harmonizing the melody as a solo pianist. And one thing I'd like to show you is something that the jazz pianist Barry Harris talks about: harmonizing a melody note using diminished chords. So, first of all, in the key of F major, that's an F6, played as a block chord. And we're talking about block chords now. These are the inversions of the block chord over an octave. So if I had an if I had an A, for instance, like I do in the melody, I could play it as a block chord like this. And for a C, I could play. And for an F, I could play. But that doesn't cover every note, obviously. It only covers the F pentatonic, of which the F6 chord is based on. But what about for a melody note G or B flat or E? Well, what Barry Harris teaches is that we can harmonize these filler notes with a diminished chord. So it looks like this. If we take, for example, the third bar, or equally the third bar in the last A section, but we'd start with the A1. We could harmonize the with and down here in the last A, it goes even further. You might want to back off it at that point. We can apply this principle in other places. It does not have to be the particular diminished scale that works within this pattern. I'll give, for example, in bar 1, we can actually fill it in with. I'm just going to go through the top of the head now and give you an example of it all filled in with this block chord harmony. A 1, a 2, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4.